Welcome to Geekaba's Weird Cinema live from Grand Forks Best Sorts. We're here with our friend Darren again. There's nothing wrong with that. He's the new co-host. Yeah. The wizard is taking a break.
There you go.
We're going to do our second week of special makeup effects, actually. Tonight we're talking about V. Neal. And if you've never think you've heard of her, you probably have. But before we do that, we're going to make a shout out to our friends at River Cinema 15 and the Shar Bar and Grill. Make the River Cinema 15 and the Shar Bar and Grill your next dinner and a movie destination in the River Mall in East Grand Forks. Either dine inside the movie memorabilia packed restaurant The Shire or take your meal to the movie you're attending. Some of this week's featured attractions are Spider-Man Brand New Day, The Odyssey, Super Troopers 3, and Ice Cream Man. Find the complete show times online at rivercinema15.com. Don't forget about the Tuesday $5 movie special all day long and the $5.50 senior matinee special on Wednesdays and Thursdays. The River Cinema has luxury recliners and expanded concessions that now serve adult beverages and is family owned and operated. You know what I gotta say about that? Crack one open and light one up.
There you go.
For any of you wrestling fans out there, you'll know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the Sandman from ECW. He was always smoking when he'd come out to the ring and always drinking and kind of like the Stone Cold Steve Austin before Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, but we're talking about V. Neal tonight. All right. So let's just mention some movies that V. Neal did, Darren.
Sure. Yeah, so a big part of her filmography is that she started working for Tim Burton,
yes,
which is a shared interest of mine and yours.
Burton is great. I love Burton.
Same. And so she started working with him.
It froze, Paul. Oh, it froze for a second.
On Beetlejuice, I believe was her first film she worked on with him. And then she worked with him on each subsequent project, I think up to Ed Wood, if I remember correctly.
Ed Wood was a great movie, actually. We did it about a year ago. It's kind of funny because I was doing a show for a while called The Movie Mortuary.
Yeah.
Where I would play public domain films. Mm-hmm. And one of the episodes that we recorded was actually Ed Wood. Or not Ed Wood, but it was Ed Wood's Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a great selection for the show.
But, some of the best Burton things that she did would be, I'd say Batman Returns.
Yeah.
Batman Returns is probably my favorite Burton makeups. Danny DeVito, great job. Great actor, did a great job in that movie. It was partially great makeup, partially great performance by Danny DeVito. As you were saying, like with the Penguin, they used a lot of prosthetics on the Penguin. If we're going to talk about special makeup effects, you'll have to know what prosthetics mean.
Yeah.
But
so like some appliances on the
face, and then the hand, because he only has like 3 fingers.
Yeah, like flipper hands.
Yeah, like flipper hands. I'd hate to have to do the blending on that.
Yeah.
If you know what I'm talking about when I say blending.
Is it like it's made out of like sort of, is it plaster or something? Like
I think it's silicone.
Oh, silicone.
Silicone or latex.
And it just kind of goes over his hand like a glove.
Yeah.
Right.
Blending is where like they blend the color of the prosthetic with the skin so that you can't see
it's seamless.
So it's seamless.
Right.
Yeah.
And they did amazing work on that film for sure in that department.
I'll say this while we're talking about Burton. Edward Scissorhands, great makeup. The scissors, I think, were created by Stan Winston, like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, I think so.
But the facial paint and the scars and things like that were made by V. Neal.
Yeah, and as you said, when they or she kind of she would change his makeup depending on his expression
or
to
his
make him
mood,
more
or
right, his mood to
in
make
the
him
movie.
more expressive.
And I think people found that kind of they didn't like it at first. The people who were running the movie.
Really? Oh,
It was either that or Martin Landau and Ed Wood. I can't remember which one that they didn't really like.
yeah.
I think it was the Martin Landau. Now that I think about it a little more,
Okay.
because Ed Wood was in black and white,
Right.
and if you put black under something
Mm-hmm.
in a black and white film, it's just going to be darker.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing a haunted house for some friends, and I learned so much from reading the V. Neal article in this book called Makeup Monsters in FX, I think is what the book was called. I would have brought it in today, but I forgot it. But they say, like you can make like zombie makeup and stuff like that, and have people with different moods by just painting under the eyes, just a little bit.
Right. And not that I did that much research on it. Unfortunately, I wish I would have taken more of an angle with that. If we were talking about Burton, I certainly would have. But I know that he was German expressionism was a big inspiration for him. So
majorly German expressionism. I think Dada. He was into Dada too.
yeah, and you look back at some of those characters from the German expressionist films, like Caligari and stuff. And
Did you ever see the music video to "Living Dead Girl" by Rob Zombie?
I have.
That's the one that's in black and white, and
Yeah.
they're doing like Dr. Caligari. It's like,
Yeah.
that's what it's based after, the video to that.
Yeah, there's definitely some shared interest, I think, in that particular segment of film history for both of them.
You look at any of Burton's drawings or paintings, and you can see the inspiration of the German expressionism in them.
Right. And as we were talking about Batman, I mean, even in Batman, a lot of the design in Gotham and things, you can definitely see the influence.
I read a thing on when they did Gotham in the Batman movies, in the original Batman movies, like the Michael Keaton and the the cheesy Batmans is what I like to call them.
Yeah.
Because they're funny.
Yeah.
But they wanted to make a city that looked like it was part something old, part something new. With you see the same thing in Dick Tracy.
Right, which is on my watch list now. And I learned that she worked on Dick Tracy as well.
And Dark City. Dark City was another movie, if you've ever seen it.
I have seen that. It's been a while.
Where they kind of like designed it kind of like the Gotham in Tim Burton Batman.
Yeah, that's one I want to rewatch soon. They did a recent 4K of that. So
Well,
I'm gonna have to pick that up.
everyone, when they talk about makeup effects, everyone talks about the character makeups and things like that. What about the set dressing for some of these movies?
Yeah.
Some of the sets are just elaborate.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was watching some behind the scenes, not to get too much in the weeds and on Batman, but I was watching some behind the scenes on YouTube, and they were showing like how they had made, like how you're kind of when you're watching it, with the practical effects and things we're talking about in this series, and basically just the optical illusions that they create.
It's called forced perspective.
Right, using that technique and others to change the perspective of the audience. It was interesting to learn how they did some of those stunts and scenes in Batman, like for instance where like if he's jumping off a building or something, before he's gonna like glide or whatever. I saw in one of those scenes, it was like they built an entire miniature set of Gotham, and just kind of had him come down like from the ceiling on a wire or whatever. But because of the forced perspective difference, it makes it look authentic. It's pretty crazy and really cool. And I wish that there was a lot more of that in modern filmmaking,
Well, here's a funny part. You were talking about Dick Tracy.
Yes, which
She did a bunch of makeup for that. She actually did Pacino.
Right.
Because Pacino was, I think his name was called the Big Boy or something like that, or the
Okay.
character. He was the mob boss.
Yeah.
Um, I was reading something where they actually said that Pacino would go eat with his prosthetics on. And
Yeah.
there was like one day that she had to go in and pull spaghetti out of his lip prosthetics.
That's interesting. Well, that, and not to jump ahead too much, but it's interesting you brought up the lip thing because we'll talk about lips later in reference to Beetlejuice
Yeah.
when we talk about that.
Um,
But yeah, and just as a personal anecdote regarding Burton, as we talked about outside of the podcast, he was sort of my introduction into live action filmmaking. For the longest time, I was primarily interested in animation of any sort, traditional stop motion, as we talked about, shared interest in that as well. And then Edward Scissorhands was kind of the thing that really opened my mind for whatever reason to live action cinema in a bigger way, and particularly Depp's performance, which I think was aided obviously by V. Neil's makeup work, because I was thinking to myself, man, it's kind of incredible to see someone give such a performance that really hits me in my core emotionally, but is almost completely silent for a lot of the film.
well, I was exposed when I was younger. I was exposed to a lot of different films, mostly horror and science fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of got into the other weirder stuff, Tim Burton,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I used to love A Nightmare Before Christmas when I was younger. That was probably one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And then later, I was a little older when like Corpse Bride and things like that came out, and it's like I saw the advertisement for Corpse Bride, and it's like, why are they talking about necrophilia?
Yeah, or even like, I mean, and I think that's Burton at his best. I
Well,
love
Burton
his
is
animated stuff, but his live action stuff is wonderful as well. But like, I love his stop motion animation stuff, like that recent film of his, Frankenweenie. I loved that.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
I saw the trailer to Frankenweenie in the theaters. They played it before they would play. It was either Lord of the Rings, or not Lord of the Rings, or The Hobbit, or
I think
it
The
was either
Hobbit.
The Hobbit or it was Dark Shadows, where they
Oh yeah.
played the trailer to Frankenweenie. The trailer was like 10 minutes long. It's
Yeah.
like, maybe it's just a short film that they made to go before a movie or something like that.
Yeah.
But, and then like a couple months later, they advertise it as coming out in theaters. And a lot of things that people don't know about Burton is Frankenweenie was probably one of his original himself films.
Yeah.
He worked for Disney
Right. Yeah. As an animator.
as an animator.
Mm-hmm.
And then they fired him because they didn't like him.
Yeah.
And then when he starts making all these movies and millions of dollars, they hire him on again.
Right. But interestingly, and we'll talk about that once we get to the Beetlejuice segment, of course. But it was interesting to know how kind of low budget that production was before he started really getting the opportunities and the money.
Can
behind
I
him.
bring something up really quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to bring up two movies. Batman Forever
Okay.
is one of them. Batman Forever, great film. Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones did really good jobs
Yeah.
with their respective roles. But V. Neil actually, she didn't really do much for this movie, but she designed the Riddler's like clothing,
Oh, okay.
because she used to work for like a consignment shop that would sell like retro clothing.
Interesting.
That's what I read.
Yeah.
And also, there's two more things I want to say. She actually was dating a guy named Steve Neal.
Okay.
And it's like, Steve Neal, was the guy who was in Jurassic Park and stuff like that? And then I remember you saying it was Sam Neill.
Yes, R.I.P. to Sam Neill.
She was dating a guy named Steve Neal, and that's why she took his last name. I don't know if they're still married or anything like that, but Pirates of the Caribbean, the whole beads in Jack Sparrow's hair and the whole tan and everything like that, that was V. Neal.
Interesting. Yeah, it's kind of interesting to see how much kind of stuff that I'm not looking at my phone for any reason other than I put all my notes on my phone this time instead of my notebook.
Well, you know what's really funny. Um, when you're a director and you're working with a special makeup effects artist, you have to have compromise.
Oh yeah.
You have to have compromise because the director gives you his ideas or her ideas, but then
Like you have to make them work.
you have
on
to make them
film.
work. But then if you find something that you kind of want to add, you have to be, the director has to be okay with it and everything.
Right. There is some artistic license and wiggle room depending on the production.
Yes.
Right. So just to talk a little bit about her background. So I was watching. There's actually a podcast on YouTube worth checking out called I think it's called The Look Behind the Look, and it's a makeup artist / director of amateur one, and she's doing an interview with V Neil and talking about her career and things like that, and asking her those questions of like how she started, and so that was really informative
Well,
for me.
she originally went to a Star Trek convention.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So she said she was asked by like rock bands to make like pointed ears and like other fantastical designs, but she didn't know how to do that. And so then she went to the sci-fi convention, and then
She saw the Planet of the Apes people.
Yep, she saw some guys dressed in Planet of the Apes makeup, and she thought they were like maybe prosthetics or masks or something. And they're like, no, we did this. We did the makeup.
Well, prosthetics, just to say this, prosthetics are makeup.
Yeah, we should clarify.
We should clarify that.
Right. I guess the different. I guess she thought it was a mask, maybe.
Yeah, she thought it was a mask.
Okay.
Prosthetics, you can make someone's nose look bigger, and it's applied with like spirit gum and things like that. And
Yeah.
I didn't mean to be rude.
No. Thanks for clarifying that for the viewers and listeners. But yeah, so I guess she thought they were masks or something like that, and then they told her no, it's makeup, and then she pretty much just kind of asked to be taken under the wing of these guys, and there wasn't many people doing that kind of work, I guess, and especially females, as we'll talk about a little bit later. But she kind of just put herself out there, and I guess she's ended up dating one of the guys for like 3 years or something like that.
Neal,
That's Steve Neal. Okay, yeah. So she dated him for like 3 years or whatever, and I guess that was her like tutelage. It was like she was under his wing at that point. And actually, to bring up something interesting to tie back to our previous episode about Kevin Yeager, which if you haven't listened to, go listen to that. She also would call Dick Smith.
Dick Smith is great.
Just like Kevin Yeager did, and he would give her basically free, valuable information, just as any aspiring artist would call him. So
I hate
thought
to
that was
say this.
an interesting callback to that.
I hate to say this, but there's a really great double feature. It's Tom Savini and Dick Smith. It's basically a Halloween tutorial
Okay.
on like how to make like prosthetics and things like that.
Is it hard to track down, or?
I have a copy of it.
Oh, okay.
It's a DVD.
Yeah. Well, that would be an interesting watch for sure. And then also, yeah, she's just worked with a lot of people in the industry that are known for this kind of work. She worked with Rick Baker, and as we said, she worked with Stan Winston. So she's been there like a long time as the kind of the art form evolved, I suppose.
And speaking of the art form in general, she was also on a show called Face Off on Sci-Fi Channel.
True. And that went for how many seasons?
Like
it went
12
for a
or
while.
13.
Yeah.
It went for a long time.
Yeah.
It was really good. And the funny part about it is this. They had Tim Burton night. Where the contestants had to design a Tim Burton styled makeup.
Yeah. In her interview with someone, I can't remember which it was, because I watched a few things. I watched a podcast, and I watched her like talk at a convention and things like that. But she was saying that like the Burton episode was one of her favorites to do. To see what they would come up with, these different creations.
Tim Burton always has wonderful special makeup effects.
Agreed.
I know we'll talk about this later when we talk about Beetlejuice, but I really like the snake.
Oh yeah.
The stop motion animation snake. I'm
Yeah.
not sure that V. Neil did that.
No.
I probably not. Hey, Paul, could you look up who did the stop motion snake in Beetlejuice?
Yeah, and I was gonna say we can't be certain that it wasn't even Burton himself designing a lot of that, because as we know, he was an animator and did do his own stop motion animation.
Yeah.
So it's possible that he had a large hand in doing that as well. Maybe not the construction of it, but certainly the design and
Well, I know he did the
that kind of
design.
thing.
There's
Well,
a
yeah,
there's
for
a really
sure.
great book of Tim Burton's artwork.
Mm.
I should bring it in to show you.
Yes, I would love to see that.
It's very thin. It's probably about that thick.
Oh, okay. But a lot of great photos of.
Well, no, it's
Things
just
like
his
that?
paintings.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, he definitely had a very singular aesthetic. Some people can get tired of it, and I get it. Like some people think that it was applied in certain situations. It should have been maybe like the Alice in Wonderland. Not to get off on too much of a tangent, but there's been some things where it's
Well-
been hit or miss, potentially being that. But these films we're talking about now definitely were.
Who?
Ted Ray.
It was Ted Ray who did the snake in Beetlejuice. You know who when you're talking about the Burton aesthetic, you know who else had a really good aesthetic was David Lynch.
I agree.
And you can see where Burton gets some of his influence from.
Yeah, well, I'm an absolute fanatic for David Lynch, and I have a great book I'll let you borrow on his work. So, but yeah, we'll have to cover something he's done at some point. But just to bring it back to V. Neil, let's see. I wanted to look at some of my other notes here. Oh, I thought this was a funny one. Piece of little trivia here was that, so I guess how she kind of got involved with Tim Burton, right, was that she worked on Lost Boys.
Yeah, well, Joel Schumacher. That was a great film.
I love that film.
The makeup was great.
Oh yeah, exactly. I watched it just a couple Halloweens ago, and it was just like, man, this looks great.
Well,
This is a
the
great film.
sequel sucked. What?
Yeah. And then, so I guess there was a script reader or something that was working on Lost Boys that had access to and was reading the Beetlejuice script. And so he thought that she'd like it as well. And then I think it was an assistant director on a film she worked on called 9 to 5 with Lily Tomlin.
Yeah.
And then, so that guy ended up being the production manager on Beetlejuice. So then she kept calling and calling to sort of get an interview with Tim Burton. And then they started collaborating together on different ideas. Like, as we said, he had his vision and what he wanted apparently originally. And then we're kind of going right into Beetlejuice. But he wanted it to just to kind of talk about how she took some poetic license or, initiative in changing things and whatever. So what we ultimately see on screen is different, perhaps, than the vision of the director. So her own individual stamp.
Well, it's really funny. Beetlejuice, the script. Originally, Beetlejuice was a giant demon.
Yeah,
If you read the original script.
I want to read the original script now, having watched these interviews and
And
things.
apparently, Beetlejuice wants the parents to kill each other.
Right.
And when he's in his Beetlejuice form, he's like this little Middle Eastern man. And at the end, they get shrunk, like Adam and his wife get shrunk down to like miniature size, and they're living in the model. And
Well, it sounds like kind of like a downer ending, right? In comparison
well,
to
you
what
know what's a
eventually
really
came out.
downer ending is the ending, the original ending, The Little Shop of Horrors, when the plants take over the world.
There you go. Yeah. So, in regards to Beetlejuice, I guess Tim Burton's original idea was that he wanted the sort of the undead to have pastel colors.
Yeah, I read that too.
Right, and what did she said something? She related to those Necco wafers,
Yeah.
like those little candies, and then but they went with deeper colors later. So when you see like the saturated colors on like the almost like the aquatic woman,
Well, you know what?
and
You know what's
things like that, just to make it read better on films, kind of like what we're talking about with Ed Wood and Martin Landau, was like some of these ideas a director has, and then you put them on camera, and they don't necessarily connect exactly the way you'd think they would. And then so then the makeup artist kind of has a opportunity to help it read better.
Can I shoot an idea past you?
Sure.
You know what they did to make Beetlejuice look like he was dead? They went to a Halloween store and got fake like moss,
Yeah.
and then they spray painted it,
And
then they applied it to
Yeah.
you know, if you ever look at Beetlejuice really closely, you can't really tell because of the white grease paint that they used on him. But he has a mustache and a beard.
Oh wow. Yeah.
If you look at any picture of Beetlejuice up close, he has a mustache and a beard. But you know, with the white face paint,
It makes it look kind of like stubble.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But and you know, you were talking earlier about the lips.
Yeah.
They want, you know, Michael Keaton originally in Beetlejuice wanted a fake nose,
Yeah.
and they kind of compromised and gave him fake lips.
Yeah, they had a set of little, like we talked about, it was like a micro budget film. So she talks about this in some interviews and stuff, where she says that they were on some weird studio lot that was not even in Hollywood or something. It was in the outskirts or something, and it was just kind of a rinky-dink operation. They didn't have a lot of money. They said it was more of like because it was that record producer David Geffen.
Yeah, David Geffen. Yeah,
So
Geffen
David Geffen
Studio.
was like I guess it was more his film than Warner Brothers. You know, they were kind of like the subsidiary of Warner Brothers or whatever. But in any instance, they didn't really want to give him that much money. He was an unproven director and stuff like that. And so she said they didn't really have much money. So when we're talking about, you know, she would have these kind of almost like creative impulses during the production and stuff like what we're talking about, where I heard that, or I had, when I think it was the podcast I listened to or something, but they were talking about the original hair of Beetlejuice was like white with yellow at the roots.
Yeah, and they like dyed the wig like 6 or 7 different times or something like that.
Right.
And then just with everything mixed together.
And then and then they sent someone off to, like you said, like a Halloween store or something, and to get the fake craft store to get the fake moss and things. But we should say that was all Neil's idea.
Well, here's, you know how we said they use the fake moss for Beetlejuice? Mm-hmm. You ever seen the movie The Fly 2?
I don't think I've seen the sequel.
The Fly 2, the one after the Jeff Goldblum one.
Yeah.
They actually, there's a part where he goes into a cocoon, ends up becoming the fly.
Yeah.
And anyways, they used like fake spider web that they got at like a Halloween store.
Yeah.
To put all over him so he looks like he's in a chrysalis and things like that.
That's interesting. Yeah, no, and then another thing that apparently she did, like it was her kind of choice artistically, was she gave him the dark circles around his eyes as well.
Like what she did in Edward Scissorhands. And
right.
what she did with Martin Landau.
Became her like stamp, right? Yeah.
Which, you know, as one of the things I'm going to use a lot of when I do my haunted houses, because it's simple to do.
But effective.
But it's effective. You can make good zombie makeup that way.
Right.
If you look at like a lot of the zombie designs from like even Night of the Living Dead, the original Night of the Living Dead with the little girl in the basement.
Oh, yeah.
She just has, you know, black under her eyes. You know, there's really nothing much more makeup to her than that.
Or even like the taller zombie character from that. The original there.
All right. So I gotta make a shout out to our friends at Arts for Vets. Arts for Vets, 5-star art studio here in Grand Forks, North Dakota. Does a lot of good work with vets. You can search them on Google, Arts for Vets Grand Forks. Great nonprofit organization that helps a lot of people, veterans and other people alike. So, yeah. All right, now we're making a shout out to our friends at Rumor Sports Bar and Casino in the Grand Cities Mall. Wall-to-wall TVs, UND Sports, your favorite teams on TV. Buses to UND Sports and all the big-name concerts. Bet on the horses, play bingo, and try your luck with charitable gaming. Great lunch and dinner specials with the $8 express lunch. Room for parties. Home of the world famous beer tower. Monday is DJ trivia night. Great place with a great atmosphere. Rumor Sports Bar and Casino in the Grand Cities Mall. Open every day from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. All right, so I need to ask Darren here a question. All right, so we're gonna do like what we did last week.
Okay.
All right, who do you want to pick? Stan Winston or Tom Savini, and then we'll do
We're doing our Rochambeau on.
Rochambeau again.
Okay. Well, I feel like I have the Pittsburgh hat on. I'm from Pittsburgh, so I have to go Savini, you know?
Savini.
Yeah, I got to go Savini.
I'll do Winston then.
Okay. Oh, well,
You won.
One more time. Going 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Oh, you got me.
We'll do Winston next week then.
Winston next week.
All right. Well, as we always say here, don't get demented or sick. You always remember to tune in to Icky. And thanks again to Darren for coming on.
Thank you, Icky.
Hopefully this will be a good partnership.
Yeah.
One second here. Can you advertise the Cinemanauts for a second?
Yeah, so Cinemanauts, we're a local film club. Icky's now part of it. We just got his regalia. We're going to have a shirt for him here, so he's going to maybe wear that on the show. We'll see. But we just kind of go around and try to rent out local theaters and put on screenings for the club and for the community. And, check us out on Facebook for more information. If
Sounds like a great club.
Yeah.
We're actually thinking of maybe doing a subsidiary of it too. We'll talk more about that later. It's going to be a secret. So
Yeah, that's exciting.
But thank you for tuning in. Stay weird, Grand Forks and world.